Customers are not just the people who buy from us. In fact, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I often talk about it, but I thought it was a really good time to dive a little bit deeper. So often we think about customers are those people who buy goods and services from our companies, or that maybe we're a customer of someone else. But customers are also internal to an organization. So when I talk about internal customers, I'm talking about the people that you work with and the people that you work for. It's important to recognize that when you work for anyone else, you have expectations. There are expectations of you. You have expectations of other people and what they deliver. So let's talk about, for instance, maybe you work in an organization where you're in the sales department and you have an internal customer who's the marketing department. You're also a customer of theirs, maybe human resource, finance. Everybody has somebody else within a company that relies on them to do their job in order to be successful. And so when you think about who you report to or who reports to you, those elements are in play there as well. It's important that recognizing internal customers and external customers have different needs and expectations. But if we don't deliver on those needs and expectations, there can be some pretty dramatic consequences. So let me break this down. I thought I'd do something different for morning motivation for the next several days, and I'm going to break down my blend philosophy. So this is from my second book, which I should be holding up right now, and I'm not. So pretend I'm holding it up, which is Sales Mixology, Why the Most Potent Sales and Customer Experiences Follow a Recipe for Success. And in it, I'm really talking about a lot of external customers, those people that come in to buy something or that buy one of your services. But I want us to think about what our responsibilities are within an organization because we depend on each other to be successful. So let's talk about it. So first of all, the external customer is pretty easy to define and describe, right? That's the person who buys what you sell. It might be a product, a service, or an idea. And when I talk about ideas, I'm talking about things like, there's certain different organizations. So that are trying to get you to buy into their idea of, what they serve. They save animals. They are trying to cure a disease. They are taking care of people that are in need. And so what you're selling in those organizations is an idea. You're selling people on the concept of helping you help others. So those customers, those external customers, are pretty clear to understand because they're buying something. The internal customers aren't always quite as easy to define, but they're really, really important. So let's talk about who's an internal customer to you and who you are an internal customer to. Let's start at the top. So number one, whoever owns and runs the organization, that's the ultimate customer internally. That's the person that whatever your job is required and expected to deliver on your part to make that happen. So making sure that that person is happy is really important. Now, what does it mean to make them happy? There's different answers to that. We'll kind of go into that as we go through the next few days, but it's important that you keep that in mind. You don't operate in a bubble, even though at times you may think you do. So your part in the company food chain is critical because it determines whether or not that person who runs the organization is successful. Every single person is responsible for making sure the person at the top is successful. Now, you can have layers and layers of managers and departments and all those things, but anyone that you report to on any kind of direct line is one of your internal customers. Now, let's go back to my situation about a sales team. So let's say you're on the sales team and marketing is one of your internal customers. Why? Well, because they are delivering on marketing pieces or strategies that help you to be successful in a sales position. So you might say, well, Michael, doesn't that mean they're, like I'm their customer? Absolutely, because they need you to be able to deliver on what they're trying to do. So guess what? You're customers to each other, which means you both have responsibilities to each other to do your part so that each other can be successful. See where I'm going with this? It's kind of a whirly, whirly, whirly thing. And, so what I challenge to people to think about is that all these people are responsible for you being successful. So to this point, I'm talking about, well, what is your responsibility to other people, other departments, to the person at the top of the organization? What's your responsibility to yourself and to them? And that's where sometimes I think people can get caught up. And I love to tell this story. It's a great memory of mine just because it was such a great lesson for people, for me and for my team long ago. And we had a big truck trying to take out trees along the way. This is a dangerous spot. But I had a sales organization that was getting really frustrated at the marketing department because the marketing department was putting out all these ads and there were mistakes in them. And that's very costly to a sales team when you have ads coming out that have misinformation, or in a lot of cases we had the wrong phone numbers, we had wrong dates for, sales presentations. And so all these things were severely impacting the sales team. And my sales team was pretty hot. They were really annoyed. And I remember them saying, like, why are they doing this to me? Why are we screwing this up? And for some reason my street has just become a freeway, so I'm not sure why. And pardon me, they're all stopping to wonder why I'm taping as well. So, they're like, why is the marketing department doing this? Why are they totally screwing things up for us? And I had to remind them that the marketing department doesn't wake up in the morning to say, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to totally screw over the sales team. That's my goal. Nobody does that. Nobody is trying to do a bad job. Nobody is trying to do anything that harms another person or another part of the organization. So there's a breakdown. Let's figure it out. And when we figured it out, what we found was that the marketing department was getting a lot of misinformation, and sometimes from my team. They were also getting misinformation from other elements, and they had a workload that was so incredibly overloaded that they couldn't keep up with it. Case in point, proofreading. So what was happening is with 500 stores and locations, and they're expected to put out 500 different ads in 500 different markets, there was a breakdown. So we solved it. You know how we solved it? I had my team start working with the marketing department, and my team was responsible for the final edit and proofread of every ad. It also meant the marketing department had to get their ads to them in a timely manner. We had to increase some efficiencies, but now my team was on the hook. And they found out it wasn't so easy to always get every phone number correct and every line correct. So now they had some empathy for that team. So my point in this is we start this little journey where I'm going to dive down deeper, not just in terms of how you deliver an exceptional customer experience to that external customer, but how you deliver it to internal customers, is to ask yourself this: what do I want to be said about me when I'm not in the room by my colleagues or my superiors? What words do I want them to use when they describe me? How do I want them to talk about me? How do I want them to view me? Do I want to be the go-to person? Do I want to be the person that saves the day? Do I want to be the person who's always there in their corner? Or do I want to be the pain in the neck? Now, hopefully none of you want to be the pain in the neck, but it happens. And if what you want to be described as, if it's not matching what you're delivering, then that responsibility falls to you. And let me give you an example. So let's say you want to be known as the person who's absolutely dependable and everybody can count on you, but you don't deliver on timelines. Then you got to look in the mirror and say, why am I not delivering on my timeline? I want them to see me as dependable, but I'm not following through on that. What if I want them to say, she's a person who always has positive solutions, and yet I'm criticizing in my interactions with the other teams? Then I'm not living according to what I want to be described as. So the beginning of this little project is for you to do this. Ask yourself, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known as? And when you're looking yourself in the mirror, do those things match? And tomorrow we're going to dive a little bit deeper into how we actually make this strategy a reality that works for you and your organization.